Right. Hello, Dumelang. Good morning, good afternoon, Siyabonga. Welcome back to the Motley Mixed Sunday Salad. Yes, there's only two of us. Others have some additional projects. So you've got the four of us for the next, hopefully on an hour. And we're coming to ending off the trip to Cambodia before we will be going on to some other exciting and fantastic topics, some concerning Cambodia, some maybe concerning SA. Yes, if you do have any information or should I say requests for topics, please pop them in the comments. If you're watching a replay of it, please pop in the comments in YouTube or a Facebook as such, or drop us an email. My name's Andre.
My name is Ina.
Over to you two.
And it's lovely to have Randy again.
Nice to see you all again.
And we hope you enjoy the third episode of the Motley Mix.
Okay, good stuff. And so without ado, and yes, we are looking really tired. We have had a week's holiday here in Cambodia, and we've got to go back to work tomorrow. So that is why we're looking a little bit thrashed, because of the fact that we've got to go back to school tomorrow. But we're going to jump into, so last week and the week before we covered expenses, we covered packing, we covered cash changing, we covered selling things, TEFLs, documents, etc., etc. And we eventually have pulled into the airport. So basically, our first question that we're going to be kicking off with, or a little bit of answers, unless you do have questions yourself as such, is what was your experience during your flight from South Africa to Cambodia? Because all of a sudden, the fairy tale becomes reality. Niels Nilandi.
Yeah, I must say, you calling it a fairy tale, I think the initial shock was more like a horror story. Quite nervous on the flight. First time in such a far flight, so I was quite nervous, but the nerves soon went away. We had a lovely flight. I must say my flight had quite a bit of turbulence, which wasn't too bad. We just remained seated for the popular majority of my first part of the flight. And then food was excellent on the flight. Entertainment, great. You can have quite a decent nap on the airplane. It isn't too uncomfortable. And yeah, the only thing that I think that caught me a bit was I wasn't really dressed very warmly. So during the darkest hours of the night, it was rather chilly. Luckily, you do get a blanket on most flights. You can get a little blanket, and that helped me a lot.
Now, with me, it was almost the same. We did not fly together as we had. It was my first international flight as well. And to be honest with you, it was a little bit scary, finding everything, running to the doors and the gates and everything, getting on the plane, being all by myself. But overall, I flew through Cathay Pacific and Cathay Dragon the last part. So I was really satisfied with the service, and flying alone by myself, it was a really pleasant flight. I experienced a good flight. And with you guys, how did you experience your flight together as a couple?
Well, it was quite exciting. I mean, it was like going on a holiday, because it was also our first international flight. We've never been out of our country, South Africa. So yes, it was a lot of excitement. We made sure our luggage is to the kilograms it should be, so that we don't have any problems when we get to the airport. So yeah, it was just waiting to board that flight going to Cambodia. And the thing is, we flew from Port Elizabeth all the way back to Johannesburg, and then we boarded there for our international flight. So yes, it was a lot of excitement. I'm sure Andre can add to that excitement.
Oh man, yeah. You know, you spend the next
And
a month or 2 or 3 chatting about it and telling everyone and exciting, and you have the goodbyes and the goodbye braais, barbecues for those who don't know what a braai is, and you have a lot of should I say excitement about it. But when you hit that airport and you start going to that airplane, reality kicks in, where you suddenly like, this is it, you know, we're leaving country, you know, it's not just ons gaan kuier in die Kaap, we're going to visit in the Cape, you know, we're leaving the country, and obviously we're leaving the country for good. So yeah, a little bit of, I would say, very excited because, as Ina says, seems like holiday, but I would say a little bit of anxiety on my side because all of a sudden it's very final, you know, boarding the flight and off you go. It's also your final cigarette on South African ground. So, whoops, we seem to have lost Yolandi and Niels there for a second. I know they are having a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue. But yes, so you find that it's like very, very final. So you get into that plane and there you sit and you know you're going to spend the next couple of hours just moving along to the next continent, never mind the next country, to the next continent as such. So yeah, welcome back. And
having a bit of a
no worries, no worries. But yes, so you're flying away, and of course, the first thing everyone says is like sleep. First thing I pulled up was, there's movies. I shall watch 5 movies uninterrupted for the next flight. Yeah, they give you a little blanket and everything, but yeah, I'd say as long as we did speak about how to travel last time, and we said like, you know, shorts and a comfortable shirt, close tacky, so that you can be comfortable in the flight. Flight is air conditioned, and off you go. And you watch your 5 movies. Unfortunately, we opted for a longer layover in Hong Kong airport because we thought, well, what if the plane's late? What if we can't find? What if we do experience problems? There were no problems. So we had a 9-hour layover. It felt like someone was pulling barbed wire over our eyes over there. Experiences in Hong Kong airport. They don't have smoking rooms. They have smoking boxes that everyone tries to fit into. It looks like some foggy morning, but it smells like some pet cemetery. But anyway, we eventually caught a train to about 15 minutes long to go and find an open air smoking area. Coffee, tea, everything. When you're busy changing from rands, a cup of coffee, I think it was like about 73 rand for us over there. We nearly died 1,000 deaths. So yeah, staying awake, trying not to miss the plane 9 hours later. Off on the plane to Phnom Penh. Fortunately, they do give you food on the plane, as Niels mentioned. And then to Phnom Penh, I think we had a nibble as well before landing. Yeah, I don't know what your experience in the Wi-Fi is down again there. So I don't know. Who will I start telling you our experience at the airport? We land at the airport, and the first thing is you run into a very gruff-looking gentleman who's very serious. I think he's tired of seeing people 1,050,000 times over, all beggingly looking for his for their visas, which we have filled in the airport for. You get your visa, as I said, check it. You pay $35 for your EB visa, which you should have ticked EB on the plane for. I know we have said it before. I cannot reiterate it enough. And you pay $35 for you. If they charge you $30, my friend, you are getting a holiday visa, which you cannot find any work on, by the way. And you have 30 days. And as Niels has had the experience and can tell you about it, needs to run across the border and back to renew it again. So when you pay $35 per visa, make sure it's an EB visa. Make sure you've ticked the EB. And when you get it, that it says EB, not like us, because we had a whole trauma afterwards trying to get that back again. Make sure you have the right change. They do not often have change there as well. So if you're going to give them $100 and they don't have change, you're going to spend an extra $30. Have a nice day. yeah, and then we got to the airport and picked up our bags. I don't know what happened to you guys from there. I think you also just mentioned how you you flew from SA. It's I wouldn't say it's the most exciting trip. I don't know how you found it. It's just reality hitting in all the time. How did you guys?
Well, like from on the tuk-tuk, well, I got a tuk-tuk from the airport to my sister's house. So experiencing the traveling part, I'm not sure about you guys, but I had a tuk-tuk, and the same as the three-wheel tuk-tuk carts that most of the people think of if you say a tuk-tuk. In Cambodia, they have a little tuk-tuk. It's a scooter or a Honda Dream, and then it has like a little carriage at the back that's driving on two little wheels that attach to the motorbike. So it's like a little fancy Cambodian carriage going on. So I had the opportunity to drive in one of those directly from the airport. It was my first trip or travel in Cambodia, and it's different. It's a lot different than what we're used to. In South Africa, you don't get something in comparison to what the tuk-tuks look like or how they drive. It's not the same as a car because it's open. The seats face each other, so it's a lot different. It's a really big experience for a first-time traveler. So that's the method of transport I used to get to the first house or the first apartment where I was residing for the first month.
Yeah, I think like Andre mentioned, my first problem was that I got the incorrect visa on arrival, but we'll elaborate more on that at a later stage, how I got to fix that and sorted it out. Yeah, when I walked out of the airport, I was completely overwhelmed. Firstly, the heat. I walked out into this blistering heat. It felt like you're standing at the wrong side of the AC, and or in comparison, if you ever stuck your hand into a tumble dryer or a dry buddy, or been in the same room as a AC, it feels like that, and it doesn't go away. It just keeps on. It just carries on and carries on in that same heat straight through. You do get used to it to a degree, so don't worry too much about it. But yeah, that was my first experience. Luckily, Yolandi was already here, so she came to the airport and picked me up, because otherwise I would have been completely lost. I would have gotten onto a tuk-tuk, which isn't a planned ride, and then it would have costed me a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, I just to add on his saying on his experience. When we got outside of the airport to get the tuk-tuk, I ordered a tuk-tuk on PassApp. So PassApp is like a app used in Cambodia for traveling, as we have mentioned before. So I booked a tuk-tuk on PassApp, but the tuk-tuk came in and took someone else from the airport. So we were standing at the airport, and there was a tuk-tuk. The one moment he was at the airport looking at us, and then there is a Chinese guy coming, getting into the tuk-tuk, and the tuk-tuk just drives off. And on the PassApp, you can't cancel a tuk-tuk if it says on a ride. And as soon as they pick up someone, they swipe it to be on the ride. So we had the problem of not being able to get another PassApp because Niels didn't have a SIM card yet, and my phone was occupied on a ride. So we eventually, my sister had to order a PassApp from the apartment, or a car from the apartment on her phone, telling them to pick us up at the airport and drop us at the location. So that was quite an experience, especially for him coming to Cambodia for the first time and having to stand there for 30 minutes waiting for a ride to go to the apartment.
Nice. I just want to point down there's a comment from our very loyal supporters, Divan and Supia. Welcome, guys. Shout out to you. And Divan says, download Grab or PassApp. It's like Uber and cheaper than the ones already at the airport. Says he was charged $10 for a 20-minute drive, basically. Yes. As Ilandi was saying now, you get a tuk-tuk, and like Niels is saying, you get a tuk-tuk as well. The tuk-tuk drivers can spot a lost foreigner, like a lost fart in a perfume factory, from a mile away. You will be charged the earth. Now, I think we're actually sort of bashing onto our next question. Our next question is, what should people expect when arriving there in Cambodia, so let's say from the airport? And yes, you need transport from the airport home or to your hotel or your hostel, wherever you've decided to stay. And of course, if you're adventurous, you go, let's do the Cambodian way and get a tuk-tuk. Tuk-tuk, yes, as Divan has pointed out to Andy Lundy, it is like an Uber, except it does not have 4 doors. It has 3 wheels and a bicycle steering wheel. And they have great difficulty sometimes changing the gears, but they can charge you, as Divan said, $10 for 20 minutes. Nah, that's not on. So what he also did point out, there are 2 apps that you can load from Google Play Store or from Apple iOS operating system. One is called PASSAP, P-A-S-S-A-P. I'll try and make a banner on that now. And the other one is called Grab, G-R-A-B. And then you can book a tuk-tuk, a remorque. A remorque is the one that Landy was explaining, has the little bike, moped. We can tell you about a wonderful experience on our way to a pepper farm the one time. Landy and Niels and myself, I eventually fell asleep on the way back, but that is a story for another time. But you can book that, you can book a little tuk-tuk, or you can book a car or an SUV. And it will give you a reasonably charged standard rate as compared to what these guys would smoke you as a foreigner. I mean, we also got here in our first couple of trips around like, $3, $4, it was like down the road. And when we realized that, you know what, this should only be $1, $1.50 after getting this pass app. We, however, did choose to take a vehicle, a car, from the airport, which if you are alone and you do not have anyone really collecting you there that you know, and you want to feel a little bit safer, because I will pass it to Nielsen Ilandi now, the culture shock is something. So we took a vehicle, a car, where we could put our stuff in the boot, close it, and close the doors, because as I think we brought up last week, petty theft is pretty high. And the last thing you want to be doing is sitting in a tuk-tuk with your eyes this big, clutching your one little whatever, laptop bag or something like that, and somebody's grabbing something off you. And they do it like that. You know, we'll tell you a story sometime, but probably in the future, about her phone that was grabbed out of her hand in the back of a tuk-tuk. But yeah, quite a culture shock.
Yes, absolutely a culture shock. I have never in my life seen so many scooters on one road. The way they travel and do things this side is absolutely something you have to get used to. There's no, I always call it, it's a chaos. It's absolutely organized chaos. Everybody is driving. If they want to turn, they turn. Everybody has to stop for that person that's turning. If they want to walk over the road, they just push their hands out and they walk. So yes, it is absolutely something you have to get used to. And it is going to take you a while, especially when it comes to driving in this traffic. But like as Andre said, what an experience. And we arrived here when it was dark. I mean, we only left the airport about 9 o'clock, because we landed at 6 o'clock, and with all the problems we had with the visas, we only left the airport 9 o'clock. So we were right in the middle at night and going to the hotel. So yes, what an experience.
Over to you guys.
Yeah, like Andre said, I don't know, we had a bit of an internet connection problem. Did you mention about the SIM card again yet?
The what?
The SIM card, getting a SIM card?
No, I have not. We've got to the airport so far. I've tried to hang it there so that we can all move together from the airport to the hotels.
Okay, yeah. So Andre will tell you more about that, but yeah, you're gonna need one of those to get a pass app or a grab, especially if someone is not collecting you from the airport. it can be really, really frightening if you walk out that airport and you are met by 100 people that is trying to load you into their vehicle. You feel like something from Liam Neeson, the Taken movie. So you're just expecting to get loaded onto something and driven off into nowhere. So please be careful about it.
Yeah, it's especially important just to be cautious. Like in any other country, it's the first time you go to a new country. It's a culture shock. It's different. For me, as being at the airport, it was already a big culture shock because like the Cambodian people, they're really friendly, but they are really out to work. And the tuk-tuk drivers, if you walk outside the airport, there will be a row of tuk-tuk drivers that says, "Tuk-tuk, tuk-tuk, tuk-tuk, come get on the tuk-tuk. I take you to your location." So it's really overwhelming to stand there and all these people run to you saying, "Oh, I can drive you to where you have to go." So that is a big culture shock, but they are really friendly. Don't be mistaken. They're really friendly people as well. But yeah, just make sure that you do have a plan. Get a pass app or get someone to meet you at the airport. I think that's the quickest way to, or the easiest and most convenient way to get from the airport to where you have to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so number one is getting to the airport. Yeah, get your passport, make sure get your visa, make sure it's the right visa. Get your luggage. Download Grab or Pass app so that you can book yourself a tuk-tuk or a vehicle, preferably for your first time. And you will be able to see what it's going to cost you before you go into the tuk-tuk or the vehicle. And then the next thing, as Niels has brought up as well, was something that you're wanting to get. I don't think we got ours at the airport, did we? No. But it all depends. We did arrive late, so it was a little bit of a hassle for us because we didn't have it the first evening. Get yourself a SIM card for your phone. Something I know that Devon and Supia, our loyal subscribers, have brought up is make sure that your phone is compatible or unlocked. So if you are leaving South Africa and you've got a locked phone, you are going to struggle to put a new SIM into it. However, get a smart SMART or cell card, SIM card. Smart, I think most of the people work with. Cell card is also pretty okay. And then you can get it with $1 for the card and $1 for your airtime and that. You don't really get airtime yet because you can, but it can be pretty expensive. But for $1 you get, they work in USD, which isn't dollars, it's like units. But you get 333 for the week. We keep it at $1 a week at the moment. When we got here, we paid $8, which gave us so much data we didn't know what to do with for the whole month. But it at least gives you the data, which you can use here. Call-wise, if you top up call-wise to South Africa, it costs you an average of about 35 cents a minute. I end up phoning my mom every weekend, and she cannot use WhatsApp or anything data related. So yes, unless you go into voice over IP, which will bring it down to about 27 cents. But on average, if you have data or at least call time on a smartphone, it's going to cost you about 35 cents a minute to phone. So if you put in $1 or a couple, I think $10 goes about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But at least you're able to phone home, because that's something you want to do the first evening when you get to the hotel is phone home, say I'm safe. You know what? Love you, miss you. Can't believe I'm in this forsaken hole. I don't know what I did to deserve this in my life. It smells, and I'm kidding. But yeah, it's a bit of a shaker, but you want to be able to at least have some communication. So get a smart, book the pass app, and take a car to your hotel. And then you get your experience.
Okay. So for me, getting out of the airport, everyone is familiar with the fact that inside of the airport, air cons are used. And with me in Cambodia, I was like you guys said, you came at night. Niels as well, he came at night, so it was dark already. For me, I landed in the middle of the day. So I got here at 3 o'clock, and it was still bright and shining sunlight outside. And it was quite an experience walking out of the airport, because you're used to this cold temperature, and all of a sudden 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 36 degrees Celsius, and a humidity of 89% hit me in the face. And I was so shocked, because it's heat that you will never feel ever. It's something that you don't think you will experience. Like for all the South Africans, we know summers in South Africa gets hot, but the difference is the humidity in Cambodia is way worse than in South Africa. If you like the winter, like I'm used to cold. I like being cold. It was a really different experience to what I'm used to. So I have to say, with my first experience actually in Cambodia, walking out of the airport, I got this heat wave all stuck in my face, and I didn't know how to react on it. I was like literally 2 steps out of the airport, the sweat was dripping me off. My sister's waiting there to give me a hug, and the only thing I can say is, damn, it's hot. Like, it's so hot. I couldn't even greet her. I was just like, why is it so hot? And I think that was one of the biggest experiences I've had coming to Cambodia. I think that was one of the most shocking experiences. I knew it was hot, but I didn't expect it to be as hot.
And it's still hot. It never stopped being hot. I mean, we are a year and a half now, and it's still hot day and night. It's like 365 days of the year. It is hot. Even when it rains, it's hot. So yeah. We're used to it, but it's still something that you have to bear every day.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think people tell you'll get used to it. That is a complete and utter lie. You think you're used to it when it gets to the winter month, which is supposed to, I'm putting it like this, which is supposed to be the winter months. It feels slightly better. It only goes up to about 30 degrees. You're feeling quite comfortable. And then you get back to July and you realize, no, I'm not used to it. It isn't, I'm not used to it. So yeah, that was a major shock for us. One of the other experiences, like Ina said, with traffic, it is just chaos. It is a organized sense of chaos. So a lot of different experiences than what we were used to when we initially came.
I just want to add, with the traffic being so bad, I actually looked it up to see why the traffic is like this. And in Cambodia, traffic lights is only been installed for about 4 or 5 years. They didn't have traffic lights, or there is no stop signs or anything in Cambodia. And it's really like, if you've seen the traffic in Cambodia, you do understand that why it's like this, because of the fact that they are not used to using traffic lights like we have in South Africa. They don't have four-way stops. They have a stop and check for traffic and go again. There's no stop. Like for me as a foreigner, driving a motorbike in Cambodia is totally insane, because you have to think for everyone on the road. And I'm not saying it's bad. They're so used to it that they read each other without even looking. They stop, even if you didn't think they will stop. They just stop, and it's really been a big experience.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. I agree, and very interesting to hear about the traffic lights, because yes, it's sort of optional here. You get to a red light and you decide, no, you want to go, so you hoot a few times and start moving in through the road. Never mind if you haven't. And then you're very angry if somebody actually moves in front of you. Even if it was green for him, you hooted. I always say, if you look at the taxi drivers in South Africa, they drive very arrogantly. I don't think Cambodia has arrogance, because there's no road rage at these things, by the way. That's why we call it organized chaos. I think they drive very ignorantly. just don't comprehend it as we go, you know. So we're going to turn left. There's cars coming. We'll just start weaving our way into the oncoming cars. And it's like, wow, amazing. But yeah, that is probably a whole topic for itself, is Cambodian driving. So yes, what should we expect when we arrive in Cambodia? The next one is, what should you do? So basically, what we've done is we've arrived, we've done our passports, we've visas, sorry, we've collected our luggage, we've arranged a SIM card for ourselves, we've downloaded the Pass app or the Grab app so that we are able to get a vehicle, preferably. As I said, just for starters to be comfortable. Afterwards, you'll be using tuk-tuks left, right, and center. And we have now taken our first gaze at the traffic and developed an ulcer just by being a passenger. So what should you do then when you arrive in Cambodia? So we've arrived, we have our ulcer, we have our SIM card and everything. What do we do?
Andrea, I think you guys can answer that question a bit better, because we had full help. With me arriving here, I had my sister helping me with everything, so I didn't have the worry of figuring it out myself. So I think in regards to that, you guys can give a very clear answer to the question.
We were very fortunate as well. We had our friend Eric and his wife and their little one. They even came to the airport. They were really good. They'd sort of done our hold handing to come across. As we've mentioned before, it is always nice, and it is most helpful to have somebody. And there is a page that you can go to, South Africans in Cambodia Facebook page. It is linked in the YouTube in the comments below, or just in the information below. There is a link for it, South Africans in Cambodia. Very, very nice. I'm hoping that we might get Steve Noble on here one day as well. But yes, Eric and Melinda, they helped us across here, and they were at the little one, and when we got to the airport, they patiently waited through all our hecticism at the airport, and they were the ones who actually suggested, let's get a car just so that you're safe. They got us to our hotel, our Laloon Hotel, and okay, sorry, I missed this one. Sorry, Devon. Make sure you have small notes to pay for the tuk-tuk, $1, $5, etc. Yes, I would say, thanks, Dee. I would say yes, before we go into anything else, make sure you do have change to pay for them. Give them $50, they are not going to have change, even for a car. But yes, so our friends did help us along, and we get to the hotel, and fortunately it was a place that they'd stayed as well. Now we'd suggest hotels that someone can suggest for you, as we spoke about last week, so I'm not going to elaborate on it. There's hostels and hotels which people have stayed at the right places, which are clean, because you can get some really good looking internet places which are not too good looking when you arrive, and also places that are well priced but are placed in different areas as such. However, we got to the hotel eventually, and the first thing that we wanted was a beer, because it was, as you said, hot. So we dumped our stuff down, and you know what, everything's just interesting because there's different smells coming from the road. There is no segregation of suburbs when you come into town. I don't know, we haven't been out into the suburbs. Where we stay now seems to be out, but it's still not like South Africa. You know, it's not complexes and yards with houses. It's rich and poor that's mixed up. So you'll find a beautiful hotel or a beautiful restaurant, and right next to the restaurant you'll find a shack shop or a shop front and the people living at the back, something like that. And then this food will smell great, and this food would actually feel like you need to flush somewhere. So it was really an experience, because we were late, but fortunately they took us, we settled down, and we just decided, you know, get something to drink. They chatted with us for a while. They were really, really good to us. And yeah, that first night was, we weren't jet lagged the first day.
No.
We were only jet lagged the second day.
Yes.
But I don't know.
the excitement was like you wanted to see what's going on, and luckily the hotel we stayed in, we were quite high, so we could see quite a bit. And like Andre says, yeah, it's an experience. I mean, it is not like we used to in South Africa, like suburbs and things. Everybody, rich and poor, stay in between each other. There is literally most of the houses have a little shop in the front, and restaurants. There is food and food. I've never seen so many people that serve food in one street. So it is really something to experience, but in a good way. In a good way. I mean, the people are not unfriendly. People are very friendly here, and so yes, it was quite an experience. And like Andre said, the first thing we wanted to have is a beer, and it was cheap. It was like 50 cents a beer, which isn't a lot of money if you work in dollars. But we only got jet lag the next day, the Sunday, when it really hit us, and we were very tired. So yeah, but otherwise we really enjoyed it when we got to our hotel and to just experience what we came to experience.
That's basically the first evening. So yeah.
That you went out for a beer. I just want to know, what was your experience coming to Cambodia at first? The first day going out in the Cambodian nightlife. What was the nightlife like to you guys in Cambodia? Because you went out the first night. It was me when you guys had a beer at a bar or restaurant. What did you guys experience during that time in regards to the nightlife in Cambodia?
Well, it was difficult because we were tired. I mean, it was a long flight, a long layover in Hong Kong. So, but you could not just walk into any restaurant. Well, you can't. Some of them you can call a restaurant. Some of them is like people serving food in front of their houses. I mean, they put tables and things on the pavement. So you couldn't just go anywhere and sit down and eat something because you don't know what you're going to get to eat. I mean, the food here is much different to what we know in South Africa. There is Western food, but you have to go and look for it. And at that time and moment, we didn't know what to look for. So the first thing we did we did go and walk in the streets for a bit, and then we found a little supermarket, and we bought something there.
Yeah. Okay. Just to give you a little bit of a round edge there. Yes, there's food all over. Cambodian food, street food is sold by the ton. When you get here, you are unsure. We did go to a little place just up the road, like a little Khmer place, and we had prawns there the one evening. It was very, very nice. Before I actually saw the Mekong River and decided they pull the prawns out of their brew, I'm not eating another prawn over here. Unlike when we went to Kep, which is another story as well for us. However, so we did eat there and it wasn't too bad. I still don't do Cambodian food too well. But the first thing you do is you look for Western food. And there is KFC here. There is a Carl's Jr. here. There is a Burger King over here. KFC is like your go-to bird because you know that, what it's like. And then we found that if you go to many of the coffee shops, they will have a pastry or something that sometimes isn't that dodgy. So we spent a lot of time, at a coffee shop having something to nibble there. And when you are in a hotel, I would definitely say the best thing to do is to find a supermarket, which we found, and I know it's close to where you stay, is Lucky Supermarket. The TK Avenue one was the nicest because there was a chemist there, Guardian Chemists, and what's the other one? Family, I don't know, I can't remember. UK and Guardian Chemists. They usually have people that can speak English as well. So you know what? Because the first thing you want to do is know where you can get something for a headache, etc., etc. And then, as I said, use your supermarkets, even if you're in a hotel or even if you are in a hotel or a hostel.
Yes, definitely.
Sorry, because it is cheaper. My apologies, my phone just blew me there. Because it is cheaper when you start learning. But yeah, which way? Which way?
Yeah, Andre, I think what you mentioned there is very important. So when I initially arrived here, the first morning as well, but everything looked like we were looking at this little shacks of shops, and there's nothing proper until I got to TK, and I was like, thank goodness, there's a supermarket, and yeah, I think it's really important. I think for your initial stage, just to keep the cultural shock under control, is do some groceries at a supermarket, and then try and ease yourself into going to markets. Don't just walk into a market and expecting you're going to buy your month of groceries there. It is going to be a shock what you find and what you don't find at the market.
Yeah, for starters, stick to a supermarket that you know. When I got really, really homesick, I know we've got some malls here, two big malls, which are like Western malls, is Aeon Mall, Aeon, and they are like a Western mall. So when I really, really felt like I am now not near any form of Western civilization, I would go and walk around Aeon Mall, and then I'd feel a little bit happier with life again. Syria Mall's also there, and there's Olympia Mall, but the two big malls that I knew about was Aeon, and they just made me feel a little bit more like there was hope in humanity for coming over here. So that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, once again, there's a place in Aeon Mall called Western Food. I'm going to get a burger and fries and a Coke, and that worked for me. It still does as well. There's a ton of other food as well that you can get, but I think we'll cover that. I think Niels and I are going to do a little bit of a hot noodle test or whatever. I don't know how well I'm going to do to that, but we'll do that on another program or whatever. What we did the first day, however, apart from finding coffee shops and things, is the first thing you want to do. We fortunately arrived Friday evening, and we were ready to go settle and find work on the Monday. So what we did on the Saturday morning is we went to a coffee shop. Now, they are a dime a dozen over here. They are not too expensive. We had a little flash drive with our CVs on, and we went to have like 30 copies of our CVs each made, which would run to about $5 or $6 altogether. And that was for a good couple of pages per CV. It wasn't too bad at all because, yeah, you need to basically, what you want to do is take a day to prep to go and find work. And also probably a day to sleep, because we were up very, very early the Saturday morning, and I thought, jet lag, what jet lag? And then Sunday I just couldn't get up. So you probably need to budget at least 2 days for before you can actually sort of get up onto one leg and go. When we got to the Monday morning, you can hire a tuk-tuk. You can probably bargain away, but I would say find out from people on the site like expats in Cambodia, or if you have friends that know. We didn't, so you can get like a $15, $20. I think we paid more because I don't say we were taken for a ride, but yeah, we ended up paying more to have a tuk-tuk take you around to the different places that you want to find employment at. I think we did from 8 until 9, or just 8 until 9:30. And then we said to the guy, stop, because he was so lost. He didn't know where he was going. And it just comes from not having somebody. I mean, we found a tuk-tuk driver for another couple, and he went into all the schools, knew exactly where they were going, which workplaces they were going, into the right places, which worked for them. And that was like $15 for the day, which was fine. For us, what we suggest is your independence is cut off when you can't stop where you want to. So we went to a place called EMC, which was suggested as well by Eric, our friend, who said, you know what, one of the soonest things you want to do is get hold of a scooter and start moving around. So we arrived the Friday, and the Monday morning we were at EMC hiring a scooter, and it's $130 for the big scooter. They're all 125cc or lower, so you don't need a license for it. You do need a passport. They will ask you to leave a passport there, or they want you to leave, I think, $350 or $500. I'm not too sure. But seeing as they they are an agent for renewing visas and that. It's not the end of the world. EMC is quite good. I know there's Victory. I know there's Lucky. I know there's quite a few others. But I think, Niels, you guys also use EMC. And yeah, they drive on the right-hand side of the road here. Do not swear at somebody when you're on the left and they're coming down towards you, like I did. I was most few, what is this idiot doing on the wrong side? And my wife tapped me and she said, we're on the right. Sorry. But yeah, so one of the first things, as I said, is budget and get your photocopies done. If you can get someone to ride you around for about $15, $20 for the day, who knows the place, if people can vouch for it, great. And then get yourself some wheels. You've got some experience with wheels as well.
Yeah, like you mentioned, EMC. Before we started renting the motorbike from EMC, I first had to go and bump my head a bit. So there is quite a bit of red tape for a foreigner to actually own a motorcycle here in Cambodia. There's a bit of work around it. It isn't the easiest procedure getting the people registered and roadworthy and everything. So yeah, there is a bit of red tape. We can go into that at some stage, but what I would recommend is rent. Firstly, that sorts out your wheels at a reasonable price, and you know those wheels are taken care of. You've got service included, and yeah, so your maintenance is included into that. That saves you a lot, especially if you were driving long distances. If you have to drive long distances, let's say you've got an apartment and you have to drive a long distance to work for the first while. If you're going to have to service your motorcycle every month, it isn't a major charge, but you can avoid it by renting a motor instead, having those extra charges. And if something goes wrong, a tire bursts or a battery goes flat, you don't have that expenses. You're only paying your monthly rental fee.
Yeah.
Sorry, go for it.
No, I'm just scratching my
No, and for navigation, guys, I do state that Google Maps works just fine here, and you can put it over in English. So do not fret about navigation. Google Maps will get you from A to B and to the main places that you want to be at. So, yeah, if I can wrap up, basically, we've been to our hotel. The next morning you're up, you're looking at probably photocopies, getting a tuk-tuk that somebody knows will get you A to Z. And you know what? Wrap yourself up with some wheels as soon as you can as well from there. Anything that you wanted to add there? Because I think, what should we do when we arrive?
I just want to add, if you come to Cambodia as a South African woman or man, don't worry about the fact that you can't drive a scooter, because it's really easy and it's comfortable to teach yourself how to learn to drive on a motorbike in South Africa, from South Africa in comparison to Cambodia, because they are not as strict as in South Africa. You don't need a license. There is some quiet streets where you can practice driving, and also because it's scooters, it's all either automatic or it's semi-automatic, so you don't need to worry about controlling the clutch. But if you want a bigger motorcycle, or one that is manual or hand geared, then you can still teach yourself, but preferably get yourself start up a scooter automatic. It's comfortable, it's easy. You don't have to worry about, you can't drive on a scooter because it's the traffic is of that sort that you don't drive fast. In Cambodia, you really seldomly hit 60 kilometers per hour. So I just want to tell everyone that don't worry if you can't drive a scooter. It's really not a problem at all. You can teach yourself here. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. In a nutshell, yes, you do get your scooters that you rent are I forgot about that, is mainly manual, automatic. So it's cool. Turn and burn. There we go. Right, just to wrap up our little look, and now we have spoken about costs of getting here and how much you need to bring across, and how much the flights and that are going to cost, etc., etc. So we're not going to cover that again. And we have spoken about basically a little bit of tuk-tuk costs and that as well, and probably hotel costs. We said that, you know what, any hotel's going to cost you about $230, $250 for 10 days. But what initial costs actually faced you when you arrived? You know, what do you suddenly start taking out for? What am I going to start paying for? What am I going to put money down on when I come here? What costs am I going to expect to start paying immediately? Why did I bring money with me?
For me personally, I think the first thing to consider in regards to the initial costs, water. It's not expensive, but it's really essential. Do not drink tap water. Buy a bottle of water and go from there. It's not expensive to buy water. Some brands is about 500 real, which is how many dollars? It's not even points.
About 7.5 cents.
Yeah, it's not even 25 cents.
So 25 cents.
If you buy a bigger, like a stronger brand water, like aqua water, or whatever the brand that is a bit of a harder plastic bottle, you'll pay 1,000 real, which is 25 cents for a bottle of water, and it's not expensive at all. You will never pay more than 50 cents on a water. Even talking about the big waters, if you buy 1.5 liter of water as well, you won't pay more than 50 cents. It's about 2,000, 2,500 real for a 1.5 liters of water.
Very, very important point you made. We have not mentioned that you don't drink the water from the tap here. So yeah, guys, that's an important note. Sorry, Neil, I interrupted you. Go for it.
Yeah, I think Yolandi mentioned the important part there. You do need to hydrate. Buy water. I have drinking tap water before, and I'm still alive, still functioning. But it isn't necessarily recommended because the water is treated and cleaned, so it sometimes is highly chlorinated. You can taste that it has a chlorinated taste. So yeah, bottled water, or get a water purifier if you can do that. You'll save a bit of money like that. But it'll also not make you bankrupt buying some water. And then the other thing that I think fits into your initial cost is if you are going to buy something, or you're paying for something and you're getting change, you are going to get real for change. Cambodian real or Khmer real. There is no quarters and all the American units for cents. So there isn't the American cent here. They're only using dollars. And then for the smaller amounts, they will generally use real. So that is something you have to convert. Generally, it's about 4,000 real to a dollar. So you have to work it out, because you might get to a shop where something costs 50 cents and they tell you it's 2,000 real. So you have to figure out the prices there. We can do a more in-depth into it at a later stage as well.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's important to realize, because that was probably a big thing that we had when we started, was to start converting dollar to real. Fortunately, in the supermarkets, everything is marked in dollar, because of their low rate on their real in that. You can draw dollars from the ATM as well as real. As Neil said, it's 4,000, and usually at the supermarkets and the malls and that, it's 4,100. I don't know why the 100. It's like 0.2 cents extra or 0.3 cents extra, but yeah. So it was a massive thing, because every time somebody says, right, how much? $2, great. So you give them a $5 and they hand you 20,000 real, and $1, and you've got to sit and try and calculate to see that you can slip up badly. They kind of know that they can slip you up, especially at the markets and that. Although I must be honest, I do not believe that they are there to swindle you that easily. They will try and charge you higher prices, maybe at a market or something like that initially, but I don't think they will actually jiffy you on the change and things as easily. Generally, the people would like you to come back to them, especially once that they realize that you are working here, you are buying their clothes for them, things like that. We haven't been to the markets in a long time due to the COVID scares, and we rather be careful. But yes, so real is real. It's real in Cambodia, but otherwise, in I nearly said in tuck shops, in in supermarkets and malls and that, everything is basically marked in American dollars. So if you're buying something, it will be marked in dollar. And as Neil says, you'll get a single full dollar or $1.50, but that's about it. You won't get the in-betweens, $1.99 or something like that, just $1.95. What are we used to in South Africa? R1.95 or 20 Rand 95, 1995. No, nothing's 1995. You don't have car guards here either.
No.
You have scooter watches. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, our biggest thing was our outlay was about $6 for photocopying our printing our CVs. Tuk-tuk, I don't know what tuk-tuk cost you in the first week, because we didn't use it too much. But then it's 130 for the bike, for the scooter, and you can get them for about 90. And if you really don't mind being slow, you can go for a $60-70 Honda today. But yeah, it is what it is. And then coffees. Oh, everyone's iced coffee mad, yeah. But you're probably looking at about 1,500 or $1.50. Sorry, not 1,500. You can buy iced tea from the street. They grab your ice from the same thing that they keep the ice bottle in. So I'm a little bit worried about that. You can get that for about 3,000 real, which is about 75 cents, I think. But then I think a cheap coffee can get you about $1.50, and that's a hot coffee. Otherwise, the iced coffee, iced latte, ice everything mad here, because of, as Nielsen Lundy have said, it's an oven in here. I long for the days of winter. I would love to see a snowflake or something like that. But yeah, so your rental, your food, I don't know what food's going to cost. I think $15 a day should cover both. $15, $20 a day should cover your meals, your water, and depending on, if you want to go and dine out now, you will be paying a lot more. But if you're happy to pick up something cheap and a piece of bread and that along the way. And if anybody out there ever sees a Ben & Jerry's salted caramel ice cream, this is a call to arms. Let me know. I found it once when we got here, when we were in the hotel. I can find Ben & Jerry's. I can find a caramel as well, but the salted caramel. This is a call to arms. Anyone, you let us know immediately, please. Sorry, that was just a quick call to arms. I think we can actually start wrapping it up a bit now. Anything that you guys want to add to the expenses and that, or anything else?
No, not really. I think you've covered it all. Do you have something?
Yeah, no, not really. What I would just recommend is please take care of your expenses. It doesn't seem like a lot. It seems like small little amounts, 1,000 real here, 2,000 real there, and at the end of the day, you actually spent $8 on 2 cups of coffee and 3 cool drinks. Where if you're living on a budget, that you can't really do that. So yeah, please make sure that you actually do check it when you keep it in mind.
Yeah, especially if you don't have secured employment. When you get here and you're still looking for work, you have to budget, because before you realize that money can be finished, and then you have a problem, because Sometimes you're lucky and get work in about 3 days. But sometimes it takes about 3 weeks, sometimes a month. But you will get a job. It's just you need to budget because you're not used, especially us from South Africa, we're not used to working in dollars. So when you get here, you have to be especially careful with your money. Make sure you can see yourself through until you secure employment and you receive your first paycheck.
Give you a general idea on that, because you're needing to work in rands a lot, and someone says, $5, and you think, oh, 5 rand, that's cheap, and you like happy to haul out $5 for it. Guys, you're actually pulling out, and I've just hit it onto the calculator, the expense calculator at the moment, you're actually pulling out at the current exchange rate 85 rand something. So when you say you're hiring a tuk-tuk and they say it's going to cost you $1.50 or $2, and you think, shame. Okay, so $2, you're actually paying 35 rand for your ride already. When he says to you $4, you're actually hitting 68 rand for that ride. And you know what, that's almost way over Uber prices type of thing. So be careful when you actually are calculating dollar. When it's $2, trust me, it's 32 rand that you're looking at. What's it? 30, not 40. $2 is 34 rand that we're looking at the moment. So yes, Neil says, be careful. Make sure that your card that you get in South Africa, I do know that we have mentioned it as well, is working in, I nearly said Colombia, in Cambodia. But be careful for having to withdraw, because for a $3.50 or a $10 or $20, you end up with about 300 rands expenses. And yes, you can put it in and draw dollars, but it is going to cost you.
I just want to mention as well, you keep on comparing to South African rand. If you live in Cambodia and you get paid in dollars, do not put all the conversion rates on yourself, because if you keep on living in rand when you get paid in dollars, you will literally shoot yourself in the foot. You will be too scared to go out. You will be too scared to buy something at the market. You will be too scared to get on a tuk-tuk. Too scared to rent anything, because it's expensive. But remember, looking at the amount of money you get in dollars and comparing it to what you pay for housing and traffic and pass up and whatever in dollars, it's not as bad. For us now, paying $1 for coffee is not bad anymore. But when we got here at first, paying $1 for coffee is like, at that stage, it was 20 rand for a small cup of coffee. So it really messes up your mind if you keep on converting to South African rand. To keep yourself sane in that sentence, to keep yourself sane as a new person in a new country, do not keep on converting the money all the time, because you will go insane. You will completely lose it financial-wise.
No, agreed there, 100%. While you only have rands, convert so that you know the value that you're losing. But the minute you earn dollars, I agree 100%. You can't, because the cost of living here is actually probably one of the cheapest in the world, is your cost of living here. But if you're going to convert it, yes, but I agree 100% with Landy. Please don't go and convert into rands when you're earning dollars. You will lose your shit. Okay, I think that's about it for today. Basically, we've got to take that one away, sorry. Basically, we've got to arriving here, making sure that you have change when you get here, because you're going to need it to get your visa, your tuk-tuk paid, get a SIM card, get a vehicle, preferably have a friend that can help you when you get there. What was the other thing? Yeah, don't die of shock. Have a couple of bucks for your tuk-tuk. Make sure you got pass app and that around. What else? Get a motorbike or a scooter as soon as you can. And don't convert once you've earned. Anything that I've left out that you guys would like to add in?
No, you covered it all.
I think that's what we've been. So otherwise, yes, if you did like it, please like and subscribe. There is a little bell to tell you when we're coming. Thanks for the show, guys. From our side, yeah, it's been real. We'll hopefully bring you a new show next Sunday at South African time, 12 o'clock, Cambodian time, 5 o'clock, GMT, 11 o'clock AM, that is, except for the Cambodian ones, 5 p.m. And yeah, hopefully, if there's anything that you do want, chuck it in the comments below so that we can entertain you in that way. And I hope this has helped a little bit with your move from South Africa to Cambodia. Do take a look at the sites, expat South Africans in Cambodia, which is very useful. We've used that as well quite a few times. And then you can always mail us on motleymix2020@gmail.com. Instagram at the Motley Mix 2020. There's a Facebook page as well, the Motley Mix, and Motley Mix is also on Twitter. We tweet as well. Otherwise, from our side, have a good week. We're going back to work.
It is.
You guys next.
Bye. Bye.